Welcome to the Fit Life for Busy Parents podcast. My name is Coach Cam, and my mission here is simple. I want to empower you as busy parents to go ahead and regain energy, confidence, and reclaim your identity through a series of proven strategies. So, we are here on this episode, absolutely about to dive into one of the biggest challenges that I see on a daily basis from potential or current clients of mine that really holds them back from being able to be in the space that they want to be in with their health, right? And what that is nutrition, right? Your eating habits, what you are consuming on a daily basis. And although this is a very interesting topic because there's so many different ways to be able to lose weight, I wanted to go over the top things for me that I've seen, right, through my time as a coach, whether that's coaching my actual wife, family members, clients of mine, right, groups, etc., that stand out to me all the time that are the main hurdles and challenges of why people can't lose weight the way that they want to and keep it off for the rest of their lives. And so hopefully you can walk away from this podcast episode really having some tangible things to be able to take into your personal life and really go out there and achieve your goals. So, the number one thing, and I think that this is funny because most people would probably argue with me on this, is that most people, speaking in generalities here, undereat, and that's what causes them to gain weight. Sorry, not lose weight. The undereating is causing most people to gain weight, and here's how that happens, right? Because the first thing that people are going to tell me is that makes no sense. When you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. That is absolutely true. But there's a couple things that you have to keep in mind with weight loss that ends up causing people to gain weight when they undereat too much. Okay. So number one is that your body has to feel safe to be able to lose weight, right? Especially when we're talking about losing fat in particular, it has to feel safe because you got to think about it. Why is our body storing this energy in our body as fat? It's doing it for survival reasons, right? So if you go into a huge calorie deficit, right? You're eating 1,000 calories, maybe 800 calories a day, let's say, right? Your body is not going to feel safe eating those little calories, right? To be able to say, hey, go ahead and take the fat. Now, short term, sure, your body can't react and understand exactly what's happening in the moment. But over the course of, eating 1,000 calories, let's say, for 2, 3 weeks, a month, 6 weeks, right? Your body is going to adapt because that's what our metabolism does. It looks at what we're taking in, right? And how do I drop that down so that I don't have to worry about eating so little and burning so much. I want this to kind of reach equilibrium because that's what our body always wants to do, right? So if you're eating 1,000 calories a day, very quickly your body's going to drop down your metabolism and kind of start to meet it, right? It might not be exactly 1,000, but it's going to bring it to a point where maybe it's 1,400, let's say, and you're in a very small calorie deficit, although you're eating virtually nothing, right? And so, does that cause you to gain weight in and of itself? Absolutely not. If you kept eating the thousand calories, right, especially when we're talking 6, 8 weeks, maybe 3 months, right, you're probably going to continue to lose the weight. It'll slow down significantly, but you're probably going to still continue to lose the weight. Here's where people actually gain the weight. Okay. You probably can't sustain 1,000 calories 7 days a week for a year at a time, 5 years at a time, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, right? So what ends up happening? Even if you do, let's say 1,000 calories 5 days a week, maybe even 6 days a week, right? That one day that you either say, hey, I don't track, this is my one cheat day, whatever, you end up jam packing so many calories into that one day that now that 1,400 calories, right? Again, when you're eating 1,000, you're still in a calorie deficit. But that 1,400 calories, when you eat 4,500 calories, right, is now a 3,000 calorie surplus, meaning that if you're in a 400 calorie deficit, and I'm going to actually have my phone here so I can do this math for you, right? If you're in a 400 calorie deficit, right, your metabolism burning 1,400 calories, you're eating 1,000 calories, right? 400, and let's say you did it 6 days a week. That's 2,400 calories that you're in a calorie deficit. 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories, right? So you're not even losing a pound of fat in those 6 days. Okay. That one day, right, that you end up eating the 4,500 calories, which is now 3,100 extra surplus worth of calories, right? Now you go ahead and throw that into the mix. You're now in a 700 calorie surplus. So you go, oh, okay, well, that can't be that big of a deal, right? Well, let's say you do that every single week for a year, right? That's 52 weeks out of the year, right? And again, you could probably go to higher than 4,500 calories. You could also probably do less than 4,500 calories on that one cheat day, right? But hey, let's say that you did exactly 4,500 calories every single time on that cheat day. That's now 36,400 calories that you're in a surplus for the entire year. Okay. You divide that by 3,500, which, like I said, is 1 pound of fat. You've now gained in 1 year 10.4 pounds, even though you're doing 6 days a week in a calorie deficit. You see what I'm saying? The restrictive dieting, the super under eating, right? It doesn't allow your body to feel safe to let off the fat, one. So that's your first disadvantage, right? Because your metabolism drops down. And two, then when you do have your one cheat day, 1 day that you get to enjoy yourself, right? You wake up and you have Starbucks and donuts, you go to lunch, you have dessert, right? You have dinner somewhere out. Maybe you have a last minute snack before you go back into that super restrictive dieting on Monday. Hence, half of my life. Okay. You end up gaining weight. And this is how people look in 30 years and go, I don't know how I gained 30 pounds. I diet all the time. That's how you do it. Okay. So that's number one. Most people are under eating too much that it's causing them to gain weight long term. Okay. Number two, people don't really have a game plan. Okay. So let's say you're not restrictive dieting. Let's say that you got your macros set up by me or another coach or just whatever, you went on the internet and you found something and you're like, perfect. Okay. I need to be eating 2,400 calories a day, let's say, right? That's a calorie deficit for me based off of my height, weight, and age, and my activity level, and all that good stuff, right? If you don't have a game plan of how you're going to hit those 2,400 calories, right? If you don't know how you're going to hit your protein or your carbs or your fats, depending on what you're tracking, right? I advocate for just doing the protein, but let's say you're doing all of them, right? You don't have a game plan how you're going to hit those numbers, you're going to fall off, right? So even though you were dead set Monday, I'm back in the gym, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, boom, Monday comes, I don't know, I got work. Um, I didn't make breakfast, so I'm gonna have a protein shake, let's say, because that's good, right? It's a protein shake. Okay, cool. I got a protein shake. Maybe I have a little bit of coffee. Okay, I'm off to a good start. Ooh, lunch comes and they're bringing Jimmy John's. I don't know. Thinking a sub, it's like a sub, right? Maybe it's Subway, whatever. And you're like, okay, it's not the worst, right? It's got bread and stuff like that, but that's cool. I'm not in a restrictive calorie deficit, right? I don't know how to track this. Let me look up online real quick. Oh, okay, cool. This is 750 calories and it's 32 grams of protein. Cool. I throw that in, right? For long, you get to the end of the day, you've only had 1,000 calories, right? Maybe even less, right? With a protein shake and this sandwich here. And now you're trying to scramble for dinner how you're going to be able to do this. And your kids are crying because they want to be able to do something and they got homework to do. And your husband or your wife is asking you a million questions about what you got to do. And before long, you're like, screw it, let's go. Come on, we're going to fast food. And I'm not even thinking about it. I'm eating whatever I want. Then it's Tuesday. You already fell off the wagon. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm starting over next Monday, right? And next Monday becomes the first Monday of the month, becomes the first Monday of whatever April when you want to get into a summer shape, whatever. And before long, it's back at New Year's, you haven't started, right? That's the second most common issue that I've seen is that people just don't set up a game plan and they become defeated, they become overwhelmed, they don't know what to do because of all the other responsibilities of life, and boom, they end up falling flat on their face, right? So, game plan. Know exactly what you're going to do. If you're going to start on this upcoming Monday, already have gone to the grocery store and have all your food. Know more or less what you're going to have. Now, that could be either meal prepping, where you actually have the meat, the carbs, the veggies, the fruits, the desserts, whatever you're going to have, you already have it all prepped and game plan, right? You just literally have to grab and go. Or if you're not one of those people, right, that doesn't work for you, you need variety, you need to be able to kind of pick based off of the day, maybe you just meal plan, meaning that you kind of understand more or less, I'm going to have this breakfast. This is going to set me up with good protein, lower calories. I'm going to have this lunch. It's going to give me some more of my carbs, my midday, kind of give me some energy, boom. And then dinner, I'm going to have a little bit more variety, but I know that I have this much and this much. So now I just got to make sure that I hit protein. I do this, it stays within my carbs, whatever, right? Meal prepping or meal planning. You've got to have a game plan. You've got to stick to the game, right? Number three, okay? One of the other challenges, so this is also a challenge that kind of falls into this challenge as well, is actually believing in your word, having commitment, right? Staying disciplined to that. Meaning that most people, like I said, I'm going to start Monday, will say I'm going to start Monday. And they probably truly mean it, right? And before long, they fall off. And why is that? Why do they fall off? Why don't they stick to it? Because their word doesn't mean anything to them anymore. How many times have you heard yourself or others say, I'm starting a diet on Monday. We're going strong. Come on, high five. We're going to enjoy this Saturday and Sunday, but Monday we're going hard. And then Monday comes, they didn't game plan. They weren't ever really bought in that they were actually going to do it, right? Because let's face it, they've been saying this for the last 6 weeks, and boom, right? So one is that there's no commitment, and two that it's a negotiable, right? It's something that when life gets difficult, they don't have to do. Or if they don't game plan, they don't have to do. Or if something goes wrong, they don't have to do. Your health right? Your fitness, your nutrition cannot be a negotiable. It will never ever work out for you because it's always easier, always, under every circumstance, to go and eat something, right? There's never a time that you're like, oh, I get to cook at home and it's going to be within my macros and I got to, track it. That's all easier than going to McDonald's and just picking my favorite thing and letting my kids get a happy. It's never going to happen, right? So if it's a negotiable and it's something, whatever, it's going to fall off. If the commitment is not there, meaning that you do not believe and have something holding you to it, right? Meaning that right behind me here, there's this escape door and I can go out this door every single moment that I want to. If you have that escape door, you are not going to be successful, right? So the commitment can be in a magnitude or a multitude of different ways. A lot of times, right? My career, people want someone to hold them accountable. They want to invest into something that makes them feel like, hey, I have to now, and then they are more likely to do it, right? There's someone checking in with them. They don't want to feel guilty or feel like they're letting someone down, so then they do it, right? And then before long, it becomes habit, and then they do it on their own. Okay, that's one way. Another way is that you just really make it super gut wrenching that it's not really an option, right? So meaning that maybe you go and tell everybody, right? Hey, I'm gonna do this, that, and the other, and if I don't do it, I owe you $100, right? People are like, shoot, I'll check in with you every day if I'm gonna get $100 when you don't do it. Yeah, absolutely, right? Now, when you don't want to do it, there's again some skin in the game, right? You want to go ahead and get it done, right? So boom, you do that. Maybe you sign up for a marathon, right? And you're like, I gotta lose so much weight by that time because of this. Maybe it's a vacation, right? It can be fun things. I'm going on vacation. I'm gonna show up to Cabo, and I can't go on the flight if I don't reach this goal, right? And then you have to just obviously set that with somebody, right? Hey, if I don't reach this goal, all that money's gone. I can't go. I'll have to give you the ticket, right? Friend or a family member will absolutely take you up on that. Hey, cool, I'm going to go to Cabo if you don't, right? So having something that puts something on the line is what you have to do there. Or if you're strong-willed enough, you can make that commitment, make it a non-negotiable in your mind, maybe even go as far as typing out a contract and signing it with yourself so you physically have an attachment to it, and then making that the standard, right? So that would be the third biggest thing, which is a challenge in and of itself, but is commitment and making it a non-negotiable. Okay, third one right there. Okay. Number four is kind of similar, I guess, to like the game plan and stuff like that. But again, is thinking that this is going to be a short-term thing, right? So what that means is it's kind of a mix of a mental plus the game plan is that I want to do this as fast as possible. My only goal is to lose 30 pounds on the scale, right? Obviously, people don't really mean that. But if that's what your metric of success is, and I need to do it in 3 months, right? It's going to make it a much smaller window. It's going to make it much easier that if you fall off for a few days, you feel defeated and you fall off completely. And then on top of all of that, right, you're not looking at this as a lifestyle and a long-term thing, so you're probably going to gain that weight back, right? So trying to spread this out, right, is usually an advantage for people, right? Because one, it doesn't make it so much of urgency, right? Urgency is great, but not to the point where it becomes self-sabotaging, right? You don't want to say, I need to lose 30 pounds by tomorrow. No one can do it, right? So what's even the point of setting that goal, right? You're going to do half the day and go, well, I mean, I ate something today and I drank water, so I'm done, right? So making it a realistic goal, and then on top of that, right, making sure that it's something that you actually stick to long term because you think of it as a lifestyle. This is a change in my nutrition. This is a change in what I'm doing, right? You're okay with slower results, right? And again, it doesn't have to be slow. With title training, we help people lose 6 pounds per month on average. That's not slow, right? If we do that um times 12 months, right? That's 72 pounds. If you lost it consistently over the entire year, that's 72 pounds. That's not a little bit of weight, but at the same time, doing it in a way that is sustainable, right? That you actually enjoy, right? That is a lifestyle change is going to be much more advantageous for you. It's going to keep you on it longer. And then again, at the end of it, right? Maybe you bump up your calories so you can have more fun. Maybe you have more strategic refeed days and things like that. But you allow yourself to be able to actually get the results that you want and keep them off long term, which is going to lead me into number five. And this one I think people will actually like to hear is that you have to have a fun, either you can call it a fun account, you can call it a fun day, you can call it a fun strategy, whatever, but something where you're having a little bit more fun on one day of the week. Now, we talked about earlier, right, where if you're in the super restrictive calorie deficit, that having that one huge fun day, that's problematic. right? So it has to be strategic. But let me give you another scenario, right? Even if you stayed in a pretty moderate calorie deficit, right? And just 400 or 500 calories, right? Every single day you're in that calorie deficit. If you do that 7 days a week and you plan on doing that for the rest of your life, is it doable? Probably much, much more than the 1,000 calories a day kind of thing. But the biggest issue is that at some point, vacations are going to come up, birthdays are going to come up, holidays are going to come up, and eventually you're going to fall off of that if you don't feel like you can ever actually have a realistic human day where you actually get to indulge a little bit, you get to have more fun, etc. So, what I advocate for is having strategic refeed days that are about once a week, okay? And then that way you can go ahead and have those extra calories, right? You don't have to worry about hitting extra goals in terms of your protein and things like that, right? Have more of the fun, right? Have a little bit more dessert, have a little bit more French fries or potatoes, right? Have a little bit more of whatever it is that you enjoy. Maybe you go to Chipotle a lot and you get a burrito bowl, but you're like, the guacamole is too many calories. Well, get the guacamole that day, right? If you really enjoy it, whatever it is for you in particular, right? That's what I would advocate for. But being able to make sure that you have that fun is going to make sure that you stay more consistent. And this is actually a strategy that I got from a financial advisor who actually advised my wife and I to have a fun account that we put a portion of our income into. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would we have like it's not savings, it's not for a rainy day. Like I have to spend it at a certain point and I have to have fun with it. Like I can't spend it on bills or anything. And he said, no, do not spend it on bills. Do not, let it roll over into the next month, right? You have to use it because that's going to one encourage you to continue to track, right? Which same thing with calories, right? It's going to make you feel like, hey, I got to be able to stay on it because I like this, having this lump sum of extra, right? Surplus. And then two, it's going to allow you to actually get that off of your chest, right? Where you actually feel good. You feel like you're doing what you're supposed to do. You feel like, hey, I'm reasonably going in the right direction here. I can stick to this. I get to have fun, right? And that's going to be sustainable for you long term, again, with holidays and birthdays and vacations and such, right? Last thing that I would say here, right, is having a strategy that you really, really, really believe in, right? And the reason why I think that's so important is because think about it like this. If you went to work every single day and at the end of the 2 weeks, right, when you usually get paid, right, or maybe the end of the month, maybe it's the first, the 15th, doesn't matter, but when you're supposed to get paid, you call and you're like, hey, I don't have my paycheck in my account. And they're like, oh yeah, we didn't do it this week. So we'll get you in 2 weeks though. And I think I don't know. It might be the month. It might just be the 2 weeks that you just did. I'm not really sure, but I'll let you know. Right? You're not going to show up to that job for very long, right? That's not going to be something that you want to continue to do because you don't feel confident that you're actually going to get the results, right? The outcome, I'm sorry, in this case, the income, right? But if you do that same thing with fitness, people think that that's okay, right? You need to have a strategy that you feel really strongly about, that you enjoy, that makes sense for you, right? Because I can go and do super hard labor as well for a job and it super underpays me, right? I don't want to do that, right? Or maybe it even pays me pretty good, but I can only do it for so long, right? Maybe it's like a construction job, and I can only do it for 2 or 3 weeks because my back hurts really, really, really bad, right? I'm just making up a scenario here, but it's like $40 an hour. I'll suck it up for a little bit and just say, hey, my back hurts, but I'm going to keep going. But eventually, I'm not going to be able to, right? And then I got to stop. Same thing with your nutrition, right? You might love the results that with keto or a super restrictive diet, you lose I don't know, let's say 7 pounds in a week. You're like, boom, let's go, right? But how long can you do that for, right? If you have 200 pounds to lose and you're losing 7 pounds per week, that's great. That's 28 pounds in a month. But how long can you do that for, right? Can you only do it for 2 months? That's 56 pounds that you lost, which is amazing. But then what? You gain it back. So now what, right? That's really the main thing with having a strategy that you're confident in, right? That you love the results, right? In terms of energy, gaining confidence, the way that you look, etc. That it's reasonable and sustainable for you, right? And that you believe that it's going to actually get you where you want to go. Not just get you short-term results, but I can stick to this. I'm going to do this long term. I'm going to change my lifestyle. And that's going to keep you much, much more on that straight and narrow. So I hope this podcast episode helped you. I hope that this helped you understand a little bit more why nutrition is such a challenge for so many people. And I hope it gives you some tangible things here that you can go ahead and do on a daily basis to be able to actually turn one day into a lifestyle, right? Now, with that being said, a couple things here. One, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on any other ones. Make sure you check out the rest of the videos because there's a ton of really, really good information on mindset, on nutrition, on challenges, right? With being able to lose weight, all that good stuff, right? Different strategies, all that good stuff. Now, with that being said as well, if you are someone who's like, I love all this and I want that confident strategy, I want the accountability, I want to put some skin in the game because I know that that'll hold me accountable and get me to where I want to go, then apply for training, right? Apply for coaching here. Go ahead and join the Tidal Weight family where you're not going to just get two coaches, but you're also, yeah, two coaches per person, right? You're also going to get the Tidal Weight family. You're going to get the best app in the world in terms of being able to track, do your workouts, have the up to date Zoom calls, all that good stuff right inside of there, but you're also going to be able to go out there and turn one day into a lifestyle with a strategy that you feel confident in, that doesn't take away family time, that doesn't restrict your meals, that allows you to make every single day taste like a cheat day. So click that link in the bio. I look forward to talking to you guys on the next podcast episode, and let's go out there and continue to turn one day into a lifestyle.